Michael Saul Dell's story begins far before he ever dreamed of building a technology empire, long before the first motherboard he touched, long before the idea of direct-to-consumer sales revolutionized the computer industry, and long before the name Dell became synonymous with innovation. His journey starts in 1965, within the humble yet intellectually rich environment of his family's home in Houston, Texas. From the very beginning, Michael displayed a type of curiosity that simply could not be confined to the behavior expected of a small child. While other kids enjoyed toys for entertainment, Michael enjoyed them as experiments. A new toy meant a new machine to unlock, a new mystery to dissect, and a new system to decode. And he didn't do it recklessly. There was a quiet discipline in the way he unscrewed casings, separated components, and laid everything across the floor like pieces of a puzzle only he understood. His parents were often torn between frustration and admiration. They would buy him something new, knowing very well that the gift would be dismantled by the end of the day. But even they could not deny that their son wasn't destructive, he was discovering. Every wire he examined sharpened his ability to think in systems. Every circuit he studied improved his pattern recognition, and every gadget he opened taught him more than any textbook in elementary school ever could. By the age of 6, Michael had developed an unusually mature sense of observation. He didn't just see things, he noticed them. He noticed how electrical cords connected, how switches changed pathways, how mechanical toys responded differently when small adjustments were made. His brain was constantly processing information like a tiny engineer in training, even if no one realized it at the time. As he grew older, his curiosity expanded beyond objects to ideas. He spent hours reading encyclopedias, flipping through advanced-level books meant for older kids, trying to absorb as much knowledge as his young mind could handle. He wasn't forced to read, he was drawn to it naturally. Michael was guided by an internal engine pushing him toward learning without needing instructions, guidance, or pressure. Even his teachers sensed something different about him. Michael was not the loudest student. He wasn't always the one with his hand raised. But he was the one whose eyes stayed locked on the subject, quietly analyzing, quietly absorbing, quietly figuring out what most other students missed. He didn't learn by memorizing rules, he learned by understanding how everything worked. School, for Michael, was structured, rigid, and often too slow for his fast-moving brain. Yet he remained patient. He observed classmates, understanding how they approached problems. He learned social dynamics, early teamwork, and the power of communication. These weren't typical lessons, but they would later help him lead thousands of employees around the world. His home life shaped him even further. His mother, a stockbroker and financial expert, spoke about markets, investments, and business with a natural ease. His father, an orthodontist, represented discipline, precision, and commitment to professionalism. Michael absorbed bits of both worlds. But somewhere deep within him, he felt that his own path would not be traditional. There was something inside him urging him to build, create, and reimagine, not simply follow. By age 8, he had become the unspoken technical expert of his household. If a calculator stopped working, he fixed it. If a family gadget malfunctioned, he examined it. If something needed understanding, he studied it until the solution revealed itself. His mind was training itself every day, without any formal guidance, evolving into a machine of creative logic. When he wasn't taking things apart, he was thinking of ways to make things better, faster, or smarter. From a very young age, Michael Dell showed a kind of curiosity that separated him from other children. While most kids were busy playing outside, Michael was the kind of boy who would sit quietly with a broken radio, toy car, or calculator, wondering why it wasn't working and how he could make it work again. His childhood was filled with experiments, not the typical school science experiments, but real-life investigations driven by pure curiosity. This curiosity became the seed that later grew into a multi-billion-dollar global computer empire. Michael's parents didn't fully understand this unusual behavior at first. To them, a 7-year-old child opening machines with screwdrivers wasn't normal. But to Michael, this was his universe. He loved seeing the inner mechanism of gadgets, gears, chips, wires, circuits, and this fascination became the foundation of his future success. By the time he was 8, he could take apart a radio and put it back together, not because someone taught him, but because he taught himself through fearless experimentation. This early habit developed his mindset of problem-solving, systems thinking, and innovation, characteristics that later made him one of the most influential entrepreneurs in technology history. When other children got frustrated when something broke, Michael took it as a challenge. He believed everything had a logic and every problem had a solution if you spent enough time understanding it. As he grew older, his interests expanded from toys to more complex devices. At 10 or 11 years old, he spent hours reading manuals for fun, manuals that adults found boring and confusing. He enjoyed learning what made machines work, how different parts communicated, and what would happen if he changed one element. This type of thinking later became the backbone of his revolutionary direct-to-consumer PC model. Michael Dell also developed a habit of observation. He observed how shops sold products, how customers reacted, and how business owners made decisions. This turned him into a mini-entrepreneur in training, even before he was a teenager. He started small money-making activities like selling stamps and collecting small items to trade among schoolmates. These weren't big businesses, but they taught him valuable lessons about customer behavior, pricing, and value creation. One of the turning points in this early phase came when he decided to learn typing at the age of 12. Most kids hated typing classes, but Michael saw it as an opportunity to understand computers better. At that time, learning typing meant getting early access to computers, which were rare and expensive. He practiced with passion, not because he wanted better school grades, but because he saw the future in technology long before most people did. This exposure to computers changed everything. The moment Michael touched a computer keyboard, something clicked inside him. He realized he didn't just love machines, he wanted to understand the digital world behind them. He started studying how computers stored information, how programs worked, and how hardware communicated with software. His brain worked like a natural engineer, always analyzing, always questioning, always trying to improve. His parents wanted him to focus on academics and become a doctor like his father. But Michael's passion was pulling him in a completely different direction. He wasn't just a boy who liked gadgets, he was slowly becoming someone who could see opportunities where others saw limitations. He noticed how computers were overpriced, how companies used outdated systems, and how customers had very limited choices. These observations would later inspire him to start a business from his college dorm room, a business that would become Dell Technologies. By the time Michael entered his teenage years, he had already built a mindset of innovation, experimentation, and entrepreneurship. He wasn't waiting for permission. He wasn't afraid of failure. And he definitely wasn't following the traditional path. Every broken toy, every opened radio, every typing lesson, and every small business he experimented with, all these early experiences shaped the genius that would one day redefine the global computer industry. As Michael Dell grew into his teenage years, his curiosity slowly transformed into something even more powerful: entrepreneurial vision. While most teenagers were focused on school, sports, or social life, Michael had already started thinking like a businessman. He wasn't just interested in learning how things worked, he was now thinking about how to improve them, sell them, and build something bigger from them. By the age of 13, Michael was already searching for ways to make money, but not in the typical teenage ways. He didn't want to mow lawns or take small part-time jobs. Instead, he wanted to create systems, something scalable, something where he wasn't limited by hours of physical work. His mind worked in patterns. He observed the market, understood demand, and recognized opportunities before anyone else. And this ability to see the big picture so early was a sign of the leader he would one day become. One of his first notable ventures happened when he started collecting and selling stamps. It seemed like a small hobby at first, but Michael saw the business potential in it. He studied stamp values, researched collectors' behavior, and analyzed the price differences between various regions. Soon he started buying low and selling high. He built a mail-order business where he advertised in local newspapers, organizing customers in a way that was surprising for someone his age. This wasn't just a small childhood activity, it became a real business model where he earned thousands of dollars, something extremely rare for a teenager. This early success taught him a few important lessons: how to understand customers, how to build trust, how to maintain quality, how to manage transactions, and how to scale a business. These were skills people usually learn in business school, but Michael learned them through real-world trial and error at just 13 or 14 years old. Michael's business instincts also grew stronger when he started working different part-time jobs just to observe how companies operated. He wasn't seeking money, he was studying their systems. He watched how managers made decisions, how products were priced, how customer service worked, and where businesses were failing. To him, every workplace was a classroom. And every experience was a lesson in entrepreneurship. Another major milestone came when he realized that he could earn more money through data research than by doing typical teenage labor. When Michael was around 16, he noticed how people bought newspaper subscriptions. He discovered that certain groups, newlyweds, families moving into new homes, and young professionals, were more likely to subscribe. So he began targeting those groups strategically. Instead of knocking every door, he used public data, marriage records, and property listings to identify profitable customers. This approach made him sell way more subscriptions than anyone else, earning him nearly $18,000 in a single year, more than many adults earned at full-time jobs at that time. This wasn't luck. It was strategy. It was Michael's ability to think differently, to use information intelligently, to understand patterns, and to execute with precision. This was the same mindset that would later redefine the computer industry. By the time he entered high school, Michael had already tasted business success. He now understood that he had the power to create something meaningful if he followed his instincts. His confidence grew, but he never became arrogant. Instead, he became more focused, more disciplined, and more committed to learning everything he could about business, technology, and human behavior. During these teenage years, Michael also saved money and slowly started purchasing used computers. He would take them apart, analyze every component, and rebuild them with improvements. He wasn't just repairing computers, he was mastering their architecture. He realized that many companies were charging customers extremely high prices for computers that didn't actually cost much to build. This observation planted in his mind the idea that would become the foundation of his future empire: what if computers could be built cheaper, better, and customized exactly for the customer? This thought was revolutionary. Computers at that time were expensive, standardized, and sold through middlemen. Michael saw a gap big enough to build a global company inside, but even at this point, he wasn't rushing. Michael understood that great businesses required timing, planning, and understanding the market. So he kept learning, experimenting, and refining his skills. Every customer he interacted with, every computer he opened, and every dollar he earned contributed to his future vision, a vision that would eventually reshape the entire personal computer industry. These teenage years represent a powerful part of Michael Dell's journey. He was developing leadership qualities, a strategic mind, and a deep understanding of both technology and business. He was building himself silently, preparing for the moment when he would take the biggest leap of his life, a leap that would turn a small dorm room experiment into one of the most successful tech companies in the world. When Michael Dell entered the University of Texas at Austin, he carried with him more than just textbooks and dreams. He carried a mindset trained by years of experimentation, small businesses, strategic thinking, and an unstoppable desire to create something extraordinary. Most students arrived on campus hoping to discover their future. Michael arrived already knowing that his future would involve technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship in a way the world had never seen before. At first glance, Michael Dell's college life seemed ordinary. He enrolled in a pre-med program because his parents, especially his mother, wanted him to become a doctor. They believed a medical degree offered stability, prestige, and a promising future. But deep down, Michael knew that his true path led somewhere else, toward computers, business, and new possibilities waiting to be shaped. Still, he tried to balance both worlds. He attended classes, studied biology, and followed the academic routine expected of him. But while his classmates studied chapters from textbooks, Michael was studying the real world, the rapidly growing demand for personal computers, the inefficiencies in the existing market, and the massive opportunities hidden in plain sight. During his freshman year, Michael began offering computer upgrade services from his dorm room. He noticed that big computer companies were selling machines at prices far above their actual cost because of middlemen, retail stores, and unnecessary overhead. Michael realized something powerful: if he could buy components directly from suppliers, assemble them himself, and sell directly to customers, he could offer better performance at a much lower price. This idea wasn't just clever, it was revolutionary. Soon, word spread around campus: if you want your computer upgraded or fixed, talk to Michael Dell, the guy who knows everything about PCs. Students, teachers, and small businesses began coming to him. He upgraded memory, installed faster components, customized systems, and provided support, all from his small dorm room. What started as a modest service quickly turned into a stream of customers. Michael wasn't just fixing computers, he was building a reputation for reliability, transparency, and value. By the end of his first semester, he was earning more money from his dorm business than many full-time workers. This success wasn't just financial, it gave him confidence that his idea had real potential. He saw firsthand that people wanted affordable, high-quality, customizable computers. And he knew he could provide exactly that. During this time, he conducted deep research into the computer market. He studied pricing structures, manufacturing processes, customer pain points, and technological trends. It became clear to him that the entire computer industry operated based on assumptions that no longer made sense. The traditional model was slow, expensive, and inefficient. Customers were paying for things they didn't need while still not getting the performance they wanted. Michael realized that the future belonged to a new kind of company, one that listened to customers, built exactly what they needed, and delivered directly to them. This idea grew stronger every day, filling his mind during lectures, in the library, and even late at night when others slept. By early 1984, Michael's dorm room business had become too successful to ignore. His earnings crossed $50,000, an amount shocking for a college freshman. His tiny room was filled with computer parts, boxes, manuals, and incoming orders. His phone kept ringing with customers asking for upgrades, repairs, or new builds. He even hired a few friends to help him manage the growing workload. Michael realized it was time to make a decision that would change his life forever. He went home to talk to his parents. His father wanted him to complete his medical degree. His mother wanted him to focus on education. But Michael wanted to build a company, a real one, based on his idea of direct selling custom-built computers. The conversation was emotional, intense, and difficult. But Michael knew that once an opportunity of this scale appears, you must take it, or spend your whole life wondering what could have been. He convinced his parents to give him 1 year. 1 year to build his business. If he failed, he promised to return to college. His parents reluctantly agreed, not because they believed in the idea, but because they believed in him. With $1,000 in savings and a vision far larger than his dorm room, Michael Dell officially registered his company, PCs Limited. This moment was more than the birth of a business. It was the birth of a revolution that would soon challenge the biggest technology giants in the world and rewrite the rules of the computer industry. What Michael did next, building computers from a small office, selling directly to customers, and scaling his company at astonishing speed, is the next chapter of his journey. The college years were not just an academic phase for Michael Dell. They were the years when he transformed from a curious teenager into a bold entrepreneur, someone ready to turn an idea into an empire. His willingness to walk away from the safe path and bet everything on a dream became the defining moment of his success. In 1984, at just 19 years old, Michael Dell took one of the biggest and boldest steps of his life. With only $1,000 in savings, a tiny workspace, and a belief that computers could be sold in a smarter, more efficient way, he officially founded his company, PCs Limited. This wasn't just the beginning of a business, it was the beginning of a revolution that would change the entire computer industry forever. The moment Michael registered his company, he felt a new kind of energy. He wasn't just a student building computers on weekends anymore. He was now a real entrepreneur, responsible for his own success or failure. With courage in his heart and a plan in his mind, he set up his first office, a small room in a commercial building in Austin, Texas. It wasn't fancy. There were no luxurious chairs, no polished desks, no professional equipment. Instead, it was filled with cardboard boxes, scattered tools, computer parts, and the sound of ringing phones. But what the office lacked in appearance, it made up for in ambition. Michael was determined to make PCs Limited something the world had never seen before. His approach was simple but groundbreaking. 1. Build computers to order. Every system would be customized exactly the way the customer wanted: RAM, storage, speed, software, everything tailored to need. 2. Sell directly to the customer, no retailers. No middlemen. No unnecessary markup. This meant lower prices and higher value. 3. Offer unbeatable customer support. Michael believed that great service would create trust that would turn first-time buyers into lifelong customers. This model, called the direct-to-consumer approach, was revolutionary at the time. Traditional computer companies manufactured in bulk, shipped to stores, and relied on expensive marketing. Michael cut through all that, focusing only on the customer's needs. In the early days, Michael did almost everything himself. He answered phone calls, took orders, assembled computers, tested machines, packed boxes, and even delivered systems when necessary. Each part of the process taught him something new: customer expectations, quality control, efficiency, pricing strategies, supply chain management, scaling operations. These were lessons he could never have learned in a classroom. Despite being a small startup, PCs Limited grew at a pace no one expected. Customers loved the idea of paying less while getting better performance. They appreciated that they could speak directly to the person who built their computer. And they admired Michael's honesty, transparency, and technical expertise. Word of mouth spread fast, and soon Michael was serving not just students, but professionals, teachers, small businesses, and even corporate clients. Within months, the company moved from the small room to a larger office. Michael hired employees, young people who shared his enthusiasm, even if they didn't fully understand the scale of what they were building. They worked long hours, sometimes staying overnight, assembling computers, testing parts, and preparing shipments. It wasn't just a job, it felt like being part of a mission. One of Michael's biggest strengths was his ability to learn quickly. Every mistake became a lesson. Every challenge became motivation. Every success encouraged him to dream bigger, but the real turning point came when Michael launched his first major product line, the Turbo PC. This machine offered high performance at a significantly lower price than anything available in retail stores. Customers were shocked. How could such a powerful computer be so affordable? The answer was simple: Michael's model eliminated waste, unnecessary steps, and high retail margins. He focused on efficiency and customization, and it worked perfectly. After the Turbo PC, the business exploded. Sales increased rapidly. Michael had to expand his team, buy more equipment, rent more space, and improve logistics. He went from building a few computers per week to hundreds per month. Despite the growth, he remained humble and hands-on. He stayed close to the workers, solved problems personally, and kept improving his systems. He listened to customer feedback every day. This feedback told him exactly what the market wanted: faster processors, more storage, better graphics, and user-friendly support. Michael also became deeply involved in understanding market data. He analyzed competitors, studied pricing trends, and looked at consumer patterns. He realized that his company wasn't just competing, it was disrupting the industry. By the end of the first year, PCs Limited generated more than $6 million in sales. Yes, a 19-year-old college dropout had created a multi-million-dollar company in just 12 months. People around the country started noticing. Newspapers wrote about the young computer genius from Texas. Investors reached out. Business analysts called his model the future of technology. Michael proved something incredibly important: you don't need age, degrees, or experience to build something big, you need vision, courage, and the ability to act. The birth of PCs Limited marks the moment Michael Dell transformed from a young boy with curiosity into a leader with direction, a leader who was about to build one of the most valuable technology companies in the world. The first year of PCs Limited was nothing short of astonishing. What began as a one-room startup with $1,000 quickly grew into a company earning millions. But the early success was just the beginning. Michael Dell now faced a new challenge, proving that his business model wasn't just a lucky experiment, but a sustainable model capable of competing with giant corporations. This was the phase where Michael's leadership, intelligence, patience, and adaptability were tested the most. After the massive success of the Turbo PC, Michael realized something powerful: customers didn't just want affordable computers, they wanted control, customization, and reliability. This understanding became the backbone of his business strategy. As the orders increased, Michael expanded operations. He leased a larger facility in North Austin, hired more employees, and invested in better tools and faster production lines. But every expansion brought new complexities: more inventory to manage, more suppliers to negotiate with, more customers to support, more employees to train. For a teenager running a fast-growing tech company, these were massive challenges. Yet, Michael handled them with calm determination. He simplified processes, created checklists, and built workflows that allowed the company to scale without chaos. One of his biggest strengths was his ability to understand patterns. Instead of getting overwhelmed by the growing workload, he broke down the business into smaller systems: sales, production, customer support, quality control, shipping, logistics. He optimized each system one step at a time, making the company more efficient every month. Meanwhile, the computer industry began to take notice. Giants like IBM and Compaq had dominated the market for years, selling computers through expensive retail channels. But Michael's direct-to-customer model threatened their profits. Suddenly, large companies felt pressure. Customers were choosing Michael's brand because it offered better value, more power, and customization that retail companies couldn't match. Newspaper articles described PCs Limited as a dangerous disruptor, a small company shaking an industry worth billions. Journalists were fascinated by the young founder who dared to challenge the giants. Customers were impressed by the affordability, performance, and transparency. Competitors were concerned because Michael's model eliminated unnecessary middlemen, allowing him to sell high-quality computers at much lower prices. But with growth came problems, and Michael had to deal with every one of them. Problem 1: supply chain bottlenecks. Suppliers weren't used to dealing with such a fast-growing company. Parts would run short. Deliveries would be delayed. Costs would fluctuate. Michael solved this by building strong relationships with suppliers, negotiating long-term deals, and forecasting demand using actual customer data, something unheard of at the time. Problem 2: maintaining quality. More orders meant more opportunities for mistakes. Faulty parts, shipping errors, or inconsistent builds could ruin the company's reputation. To fix this, Michael introduced a strict quality control system. Every computer was tested thoroughly before leaving the factory. Problem 3: customer service overload. As customers grew, their questions grew too: technical issues, upgrade requests, troubleshooting. Michael responded by creating a dedicated support team trained to solve problems quickly and politely. This became one of the strongest pillars of his brand. Problem 4: competition strikes back. Big companies began lowering prices, launching new machines, and even trying to imitate parts of Michael's model, but none could match the efficiency and speed of PCs Limited, because the entire company was built around customization and direct sales. Despite all these challenges, Michael stayed focused. He kept improving his model and expanding his product line. Soon, the company wasn't just selling computers, it was building a reputation for innovation, flexibility, and customer-first service. By 1985, PCs Limited reached $70 million in annual sales. This was no longer a dorm room experiment. It was a serious player in the technology world. Michael Dell, still in his early 20s, had achieved what most people couldn't even imagine. He had taken on the biggest companies in the world and proved that a smarter strategy, faster operations, and better customer understanding could beat even the strongest competitors, but the journey wasn't over. As his business grew, Michael realized that it was time for a new identity, a name that would represent the company's mission, vision, and future, a name that would soon become one of the most trusted brands in global technology. That next chapter, the transition from PCs Limited to Dell Computer Corporation, would mark the beginning of a global expansion that changed the world forever. As the momentum of PCs Limited continued to surge in the mid-1980s, Michael Dell faced both unprecedented opportunities and equally daunting challenges, but his vision never wavered, and his approach to building a company that prioritized efficiency, customization, and customer satisfaction became sharper with each passing day. The early successes of the dorm room business had shown him that he could compete with industry giants, but sustaining and scaling that success required not just technical skill or ambition, but extraordinary organizational foresight, strategic planning, and an unrelenting focus on execution. And Michael approached these challenges with the same curiosity, analytical mind, and hands-on attitude that had defined his childhood experiments with gadgets. And now, every decision, from sourcing parts directly from suppliers to managing a rapidly growing team, from streamlining production processes to innovating marketing strategies, was driven by data, observation, and an almost intuitive understanding of customer needs. And as orders multiplied, he realized that the direct-to-customer model, once considered risky and unconventional, was precisely the edge that gave his company the ability to outpace competitors. Because while large corporations relied on slow retail chains, bureaucratic hierarchies, and rigid product lines, Dell's approach allowed the company to respond quickly, adjust specifications, offer better prices, and build a loyal customer base. And this agility became the foundation for the company's expansion beyond Texas. As businesses and tech enthusiasts across the country began recognizing the unique value offered by Dell computers, and Michael, still in his early 20s, embraced the immense responsibility that came with rapid growth, staying deeply involved in every aspect of the company, from design and assembly to customer interactions and supplier negotiations, understanding that in order to build a lasting empire, he had to maintain quality, trust, and innovation even as the company's scale increased exponentially. And while competitors tried to imitate or undercut his business, Dell's speed, customer focus, and ability to deliver exactly what people wanted kept the company ahead, solidifying its reputation as a disruptive force in the personal computer market. And by the late 1980s, as revenues skyrocketed and the company expanded into new cities, Michael realized that what started as a dorm room project was rapidly becoming a national brand, setting the stage for the global expansion, the eventual rebranding to Dell Computer Corporation, and the transformation from a scrappy startup into a technology powerhouse that would one day dominate the industry and redefine the way people around the world purchased and experienced personal computing. A journey driven not by luck but by foresight, relentless work ethic, innovation, and the ability to see opportunity where others saw only obstacles. And this period, marked by rapid scaling, problem-solving, and visionary leadership, was the crucible that forged Michael Dell from a young entrepreneur into a global business leader whose impact would resonate for decades to come. By the late 1980s, Michael Dell had transformed his dorm room experiment into a thriving company that was no longer just a regional player but a serious contender in the national computer market. And with success came the question of how to scale even further, access more capital, and position the company for long-term dominance. And Michael realized that going public was the next logical step. A bold and ambitious move that would allow Dell to raise funds, invest in research and development, expand manufacturing, and compete on a global stage. Yet he approached the process with the same meticulous care, strategic planning, and attention to detail that had always defined his approach to business, ensuring that every decision reflected not only immediate growth potential but also the long-term vision of creating a company built on efficiency, innovation, and customer centricity. And as the company prepared for its initial public offering in 1988, Michael worked tirelessly, studying financial regulations, investor behavior, and stock market dynamics, meeting with bankers, lawyers, and advisors, all while continuing to oversee daily operations, manage employees, and ensure that the quality of his products never wavered despite the increasing scale. and the IPO itself was a milestone that not only provided a massive infusion of capital but also cemented Dell's reputation as a visionary company led by a young entrepreneur whose methods were unconventional but remarkably effective. And the publicity surrounding the IPO brought national attention, with media outlets fascinated by the story of a college dropout building a multi-million-dollar business, and customers felt even more confident buying from a company that was now publicly accountable, and Michael used this moment to further expand his product line, develop partnerships, invest in advanced manufacturing technologies, and explore international markets, all while maintaining the core philosophy of building computers to order, selling directly, and listening carefully to customer needs. And this period of going public marked a turning point, transforming Dell from a successful startup into a recognizable global brand, laying the foundation for the company to enter foreign markets, adapt to different cultures, and eventually become a worldwide leader in personal computing. And yet, despite all the external recognition and financial success, Michael remained intensely focused on the internal workings of the company, understanding that sustainable growth depended on operational excellence, innovation, employee engagement, and customer loyalty, and this commitment to balancing rapid expansion with quality, vision with execution, and innovation with reliability became the hallmark of Dell's leadership style and the blueprint for the company's meteoric rise in the technology world over the following decades. After the success of the IPO and establishing Dell as a dominant player in the US market, Michael Dell turned his attention to the global stage, understanding that true industry leadership required expanding beyond national borders, yet international expansion came with a host of unprecedented challenges. From understanding diverse customer needs and navigating complex regulatory environments to managing logistics, supply chains, and cultural differences across continents, and Michael approached each obstacle with the same analytical mindset and hands-on leadership that had defined his early years, personally studying foreign markets, meeting with regional partners, and learning the nuances of each country's technological infrastructure and consumer behavior. Recognizing that a one-size-fits-all approach would never work in a global market, and as Dell began opening offices and distribution centers in Europe, Asia, and other regions, the company faced intense competition from both established local players and multinational corporations, all vying for market share in the rapidly growing personal computer industry. Yet Michael leveraged the direct-to-consumer model as a unique advantage, tailoring offerings to meet local needs, providing superior customer support, and maintaining the same emphasis on efficiency, customization, and quality that had defined the company from the very beginning. And while these international ventures required substantial investment, careful planning, and constant oversight, Michael's relentless focus on data, feedback, and operational excellence allowed Dell to overcome logistical hurdles, scale production, and ensure that customers in every region received computers built to their specifications, shipped directly and efficiently, and with the same level of trust and reliability. And through these expansions, Michael not only grew revenue and market share but also transformed Dell into a truly global brand, capable of competing with industry giants in every continent, and while navigating complex global challenges, from currency fluctuations and regulatory compliance to cultural differences and technological infrastructure gaps, he continued to innovate, streamline operations, and adapt his strategies, proving that his leadership was not just about building a company but about creating a resilient, scalable, and forward-thinking organization. And by the end of this period, Dell Computers had evolved from a college dorm room startup into a global powerhouse, with Michael Dell recognized worldwide as one of the most visionary entrepreneurs in technology, combining youthful ingenuity with disciplined execution, and setting the stage for future innovations that would redefine the personal computing industry for decades to come. As Dell Computers solidified its presence in international markets, Michael Dell's focus shifted to sustaining innovation while maintaining the principles that had driven the company from a dorm room experiment to a global powerhouse. Understanding that technology was evolving rapidly, customer expectations were growing, and competitors were adapting new strategies, and he realized that in order to stay ahead, Dell needed not only to continue refining the direct-to-consumer model but also to lead in product innovation, operational efficiency, and service excellence. And Michael personally oversaw research and development efforts, pushing his team to anticipate market trends, explore emerging technologies, and design computers that were faster, more reliable, and increasingly customized to the needs of diverse global customers. while simultaneously optimizing supply chains, negotiating with suppliers across continents, and implementing data-driven management systems that allowed the company to scale seamlessly without sacrificing quality. And under his leadership, Dell began launching new product lines, including high-performance workstations, servers, and business solutions that catered to both individual consumers and large corporations, expanding the company's reach into sectors previously dominated by long-established technology giants. And Michael's management philosophy emphasized accountability, continuous learning, and adaptability, ensuring that employees at every level were empowered to innovate and improve processes, while maintaining a company culture rooted in customer satisfaction and operational excellence. And as the company grew, Michael remained intensely involved in strategic decisions, often personally engaging with major clients, attending technology conferences, and studying market data to understand global trends. And these actions reinforced Dell's reputation as a company that not only sold computers but also provided meaningful, tailored solutions that responded to the evolving needs of a global audience. And by the mid-1990s, Dell Computers had become one of the most recognized and trusted technology brands worldwide, with a legacy defined by innovation, strategic foresight, and the entrepreneurial vision of a young man who had turned curiosity, discipline, and relentless effort into a business model that transformed the way the world bought, built, and experienced personal computing, creating a foundation that would influence technology, commerce, and corporate leadership for decades to come. As Dell Computers expanded globally, Michael Dell's focus intensified on combining innovation with operational mastery. Understanding that sustaining growth required more than market expansion, it demanded a deep integration of customer needs, supply chain efficiency, and forward-thinking product design. And he approached this challenge with the same precision and analytical rigor that had defined his journey from childhood curiosity to entrepreneurial genius, personally studying each aspect of the business, from production workflows to customer support systems, and ensuring that the company's operations could handle unprecedented demand without compromising quality. And under his leadership, Dell introduced a series of initiatives that revolutionized the personal computing industry, including just-in-time manufacturing, direct order customization, and real-time feedback loops that allowed the company to anticipate and respond to market trends faster than competitors, while simultaneously investing in research and development to produce faster, more reliable, and cost-effective computers. And Michael's philosophy was clear. Every decision must enhance the customer experience, reduce inefficiencies, and support sustainable growth. And this approach not only increased revenue and market share but also created a culture of accountability and continuous improvement within the company, empowering employees to innovate, experiment, and solve problems proactively. And as Dell's reputation for reliability and value strengthened, the company began to attract large corporate clients and government contracts, further solidifying its position as a global leader. And Michael's personal involvement in key strategic decisions, from international expansions to product roadmaps, ensured that the company remained true to its founding principles while navigating the complexities of a rapidly evolving technology landscape. And by the late 1990s, Dell Computers had transformed from a pioneering dorm room startup into an industrial powerhouse, known not only for its innovative products but also for its revolutionary business model, demonstrating that a relentless focus on efficiency, customer satisfaction, and innovation could disrupt an entire industry, and solidifying Michael Dell's legacy as one of the most visionary technology leaders of his generation, whose ideas would continue to influence the computing world for decades to come. By the turn of the millennium, Michael Dell had firmly established his company as a household name in personal computing, but he knew that the future demanded a broader vision, beyond individual consumers to enterprises, government agencies, and large-scale organizations whose technology needs were complex, demanding, and rapidly evolving. And he approached this challenge with the same analytical mindset and hands-on leadership that had characterized his rise from a curious teenager to a global CEO, personally overseeing strategic planning sessions, studying emerging technologies, and identifying gaps in the market that competitors had overlooked. And under his direction, Dell expanded its offerings to include servers, networking equipment, data storage solutions, and IT services, effectively transforming the company from a PC manufacturer into a comprehensive technology solutions provider capable of meeting the needs of both small businesses and multinational corporations. and this diversification required not only technological innovation but also the development of sophisticated supply chains, dedicated enterprise support teams, and integrated service solutions, all designed to maintain the company's core philosophy of efficiency, customization, and customer centricity, and Michael's leadership style, which emphasized both visionary thinking and operational excellence, allowed the company to scale these new offerings without losing the nimbleness that had made it successful, while also navigating global competition, regulatory challenges, and the fast-paced evolution of digital infrastructure. And as the company gained traction in the enterprise sector, it cemented Dell's reputation as a technology leader capable of addressing the most complex computing needs, from secure network architecture to high-performance data management, and by combining its innovative business model with strategic acquisitions, partnerships, and investments in research, Dell not only expanded revenue streams but also created a sustainable ecosystem for growth. Reinforcing Michael's belief that success comes from anticipating customer needs, empowering employees to innovate, and maintaining a relentless focus on quality and service, and this period of strategic expansion marked a defining moment in Dell's evolution, as the company transitioned from a consumer-focused PC brand into a globally recognized enterprise solutions provider, further solidifying Michael Dell's legacy as one of the most visionary and adaptive leaders in the history of technology, which emphasized both visionary thinking and operational excellence, allowed the company to scale these new offerings without losing the nimbleness that had made it successful, while also navigating global competition, regulatory challenges, and the fast-paced evolution of digital infrastructure. And as the company gained traction in the enterprise sector, it cemented Dell's reputation as a technology leader capable of addressing the most complex computing needs, from secure network architecture to high-performance data management, and by combining its innovative business model with strategic acquisitions, partnerships, and investments in research, Dell not only expanded revenue streams but also created a sustainable ecosystem for growth. Reinforcing Michael's belief that success comes from anticipating customer needs, empowering employees to innovate, and maintaining a relentless focus on quality and service, and this period of strategic expansion marked a defining moment in Dell's evolution, as the company transitioned from a consumer-focused PC brand into a globally recognized enterprise solutions provider, further solidifying Michael Dell's legacy as one of the most visionary and adaptive leaders in the history of technology. Time analytics, predictive modeling, and advanced support services, and Michael's leadership philosophy, which balanced long-term vision with meticulous attention to operational detail, allowed the company to navigate economic fluctuations, technological shifts, and global market complexities, maintaining growth and profitability while expanding into new sectors, geographies, and client segments. And this period also reinforced the importance of adaptability, as Michael personally championed initiatives that repositioned Dell as a comprehensive technology partner for enterprise, government, and consumer markets alike, demonstrating that sustained success required more than just innovation, it required agility, a deep understanding of customer needs, and the ability to anticipate the future. And through these efforts, Dell not only preserved its legacy of operational excellence and customer-centric design but also set the foundation for decades of continued leadership, solidifying Michael Dell's reputation as one of the most strategic, forward-thinking, and resilient leaders in the history of technology. As the world entered the late 2000s and digital transformation began reshaping industries, Michael Dell faced the immense challenge of reinventing his company to thrive in an era defined by rapid technological change, cloud computing, mobile innovation, and evolving customer expectations. And he approached this period with the same visionary mindset and disciplined execution that had guided him from his teenage experiments to the helm of a global technology empire, focusing on how Dell could not only adapt but lead in the new digital age. And he personally spearheaded initiatives to modernize operations, streamline supply chains, integrate advanced software solutions, and expand the company's footprint in enterprise IT services, while maintaining the core principles that had made Dell successful: direct-to-customer sales, customization, efficiency, and customer satisfaction. And during this transformative phase, Michael also recognized that sustaining growth required bold strategic moves beyond organic expansion, leading to targeted acquisitions, partnerships, and investments in emerging technologies that could complement and enhance Dell's existing capabilities. And he emphasized fostering a culture of innovation, encouraging teams to challenge assumptions, experiment with new solutions, and embrace agility in a rapidly evolving market. And through this approach, Dell successfully transitioned from a PC-focused company into a comprehensive technology solutions provider capable of addressing complex enterprise challenges, including virtualization, cloud infrastructure, cybersecurity, and data management, while still maintaining strong ties to its consumer base. And Michael's relentless focus on aligning strategy with execution allowed the company to remain competitive globally, navigate economic fluctuations, and continue delivering exceptional value to customers, employees, and investors alike. And this period of reinvention not only reinforced Dell's reputation as an innovative, adaptable, and customer-focused organization but also solidified Michael Dell's standing as a transformative leader capable of guiding his company through multiple technological revolutions while staying true to the principles of vision, discipline, and relentless pursuit of excellence that had defined his entire entrepreneurial journey. One of the most defining moments in Michael Dell's career came in 2015, when he orchestrated the monumental acquisition of EMC, a global leader in data storage, a move that not only transformed Dell into a comprehensive enterprise technology powerhouse but also demonstrated his unparalleled strategic vision and ability to execute complex, high-stakes deals. And this merger, valued at over $67 billion, was the largest technology acquisition in history at the time, reflecting Michael's commitment to positioning Dell at the forefront of the next wave of digital transformation. And the deal presented immense challenges, including integrating two massive organizations with distinct cultures, technologies, and customer bases, navigating global regulatory hurdles, and ensuring that the company maintained operational efficiency and customer trust during the transition. Yet Michael approached these challenges with the same meticulous planning, hands-on leadership, and long-term thinking that had characterized his journey from a dorm room entrepreneur to CEO of a global empire, personally overseeing integration strategies, fostering collaboration between teams, aligning corporate vision, and ensuring that the combined organization could leverage its collective strengths to provide end-to-end solutions for enterprises worldwide. And under his leadership, Dell Technologies emerged as a leader not just in hardware but also in software, cloud infrastructure, virtualization, and cybersecurity, enabling businesses of all sizes to transform their operations in an increasingly digital world. And throughout this process, Michael maintained his philosophy of listening to customers, empowering employees, optimizing processes, and embracing innovation, understanding that the true value of the merger would be realized not through financial metrics alone, but through the ability to create solutions that solved real-world business challenges, strengthened global partnerships, and established Dell as an integrated technology ecosystem capable of competing at the highest level globally. And this period cemented Michael Dell's legacy as a visionary leader who could combine entrepreneurial intuition with disciplined strategy, turning bold ideas into tangible results, and proving once again that with foresight, perseverance, and the courage to take calculated risks, it is possible to reshape entire industries and leave an indelible mark on the world of technology. As Dell Technologies grew into a global enterprise, Michael Dell's focus expanded beyond revenue, market share, and technological innovation to include the human aspects of leadership, understanding that sustaining a world-class company required not only strategic vision and operational excellence but also a deep commitment to employees, culture, and social responsibility. And throughout his career, Michael consistently emphasized empowering teams, fostering collaboration, and cultivating a corporate culture that encouraged creativity, accountability, and continuous learning, recognizing that every innovation, every efficiency improvement, and every customer solution depended on the passion and expertise of the people behind it. And he personally engaged with employees at all levels, listening to their insights, addressing concerns, and creating programs that supported professional development and personal growth, while also championing diversity, inclusion, and corporate responsibility as core principles of the organization. And this philosophy extended to customers as well, with Michael ensuring that Dell remained intensely customer-focused, understanding that long-term success depended on anticipating and meeting the evolving needs of businesses and individuals alike. And beyond the company itself, he invested in philanthropic initiatives, education, and technology access programs, recognizing that true leadership carries the responsibility of making a positive impact on society. And through this approach, Michael Dell demonstrated that building a global empire is not solely about innovation or financial success, but also about shaping a culture of integrity, empathy, and vision, where employees are inspired to excel, customers are valued and understood, and communities are supported. And by integrating these principles into the DNA of Dell Technologies, he ensured that the company could navigate challenges, adapt to changing markets, and maintain its competitive edge while leaving a lasting legacy that combined business brilliance with human-centered leadership, reinforcing that the most enduring success is achieved when innovation and humanity are inseparable. As the technology landscape continued to evolve at an unprecedented pace, Michael Dell remained deeply committed to ensuring that Dell Technologies not only adapted but led in emerging trends, understanding that staying ahead required foresight, innovation, and a willingness to embrace change while remaining true to the company's core principles, and he personally guided initiatives in cloud computing, virtualization, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and big data analytics, ensuring that Dell's products and services were not only current but also anticipatory, designed to solve tomorrow's challenges today. And he emphasized the importance of integrating these technologies seamlessly into enterprise solutions, allowing businesses to operate more efficiently, securely, and innovatively, while maintaining the same direct-to-customer focus and customization that had driven the company since its earliest days. And Michael's approach combined strategic investment in research and development with a relentless focus on operational excellence, supply chain optimization, and customer insight, creating a framework where innovation could scale globally without sacrificing quality or reliability. And he worked closely with teams across continents to cultivate a culture of agility, curiosity, and problem-solving, ensuring that employees were empowered to experiment, learn from failure, and apply lessons quickly to deliver tangible results. And through these efforts, Dell Technologies positioned itself as a leader in the digital transformation of enterprises worldwide, providing solutions that were not only technologically advanced but also deeply aligned with the practical needs of customers. And by maintaining this balance between visionary leadership and disciplined execution, Michael Dell reinforced the company's reputation as a trusted, forward-thinking partner capable of navigating uncertainty, leveraging emerging opportunities, and driving innovation at a scale few companies could match, solidifying both his legacy and Dell's place at the forefront of global technology for decades to come. In the ever-changing world of technology and business, Michael Dell demonstrated that true leadership is measured not only by success in growth but also by resilience in the face of global challenges. And throughout his career, he encountered economic downturns, market disruptions, intense competition, and the pressures of leading a global enterprise, yet his unwavering focus on strategy, adaptability, and customer-centric innovation allowed Dell Technologies to not only survive these challenges but thrive. And he personally led initiatives to streamline operations, diversify revenue streams, strengthen supply chains, and implement forward-thinking business models, ensuring the company could respond rapidly to crises while maintaining quality and service. And Michael emphasized the importance of learning from every setback, viewing challenges as opportunities to improve systems, train teams, and innovate solutions. And under his guidance, the company embraced emerging technologies, explored new markets, and invested in digital infrastructure, preparing both employees and customers for the future of computing. And he reinforced a culture of collaboration, accountability, and continuous improvement, where leaders were empowered to make decisions, experiment with new ideas, and respond dynamically to changing market conditions. And through these strategies, Dell Technologies not only weathered global economic shifts but emerged stronger, more agile, and more innovative, maintaining customer trust and market leadership. And this period further solidified Michael Dell's reputation as a visionary who combined entrepreneurial intuition with disciplined execution, proving that sustainable success comes from foresight, resilience, and the ability to adapt without compromising values or long-term goals. And by integrating these principles into every facet of the company, he ensured that Dell remained a trusted global technology leader, capable of navigating uncertainty, embracing innovation, and continuing to shape the future of enterprise and consumer computing. As Michael Dell approached the later stages of his career, his focus expanded beyond the immediate growth and operations of Dell Technologies to the enduring legacy he wanted to create, understanding that the mark of true leadership is not only measured by revenue or market share, but by the long-lasting impact on industry, employees, customers, and society at large. And throughout his journey, he emphasized innovation, adaptability, and customer-centric design, ensuring that Dell remained at the forefront of technology while fostering a corporate culture of integrity, collaboration, and continuous learning. And he invested heavily in research, advanced computing solutions, cloud infrastructure, and enterprise services, positioning Dell Technologies to meet the demands of an increasingly digital, interconnected world, while maintaining the core philosophy of building products and services that addressed real customer needs. And Michael also championed sustainability, philanthropy, and education initiatives, understanding that technology has the power to improve lives, expand opportunities, and drive societal progress. And he encouraged employees to embrace curiosity, take initiative, and innovate boldly, creating an environment where talent could thrive and ideas could translate into meaningful solutions. And by integrating vision with operational excellence, strategic risk-taking with disciplined execution, and innovation with empathy, he ensured that Dell Technologies would not just be a successful company, but a model of how thoughtful, visionary leadership can transform an industry and inspire generations of entrepreneurs. And through his relentless pursuit of excellence, focus on the customer, and dedication to nurturing both people and technology, Michael Dell has left an indelible mark on the computing world, establishing a legacy that will continue to influence global technology, business leadership, and the future of innovation for decades to come. Michael Dell's journey, from a curious teenager dismantling and rebuilding computers in his bedroom to the CEO of a global technology empire, is a story of vision, perseverance, innovation, and relentless determination, and it exemplifies how a single idea, nurtured with discipline and courage, can transform entire industries and inspire millions of people around the world. And throughout his career, Michael demonstrated that success is not achieved overnight, but through consistent learning, embracing challenges, making calculated risks, and staying true to core principles of efficiency, customer centricity, and operational excellence. And as he scaled Dell from a small dorm room operation to PCs Limited, then to Dell Computer Corporation, and ultimately to Dell Technologies, he revolutionized the way computers were sold, manufactured, and experienced, pioneering the direct-to-consumer model, emphasizing customization, building trust with customers, and creating systems that could scale globally without sacrificing quality or innovation. And along the way, he navigated intense competition, global market fluctuations, technological disruption, and the complexities of enterprise expansion, always balancing visionary thinking with meticulous execution. And he fostered a culture of creativity, accountability, and continuous improvement, empowering employees to innovate and ensuring that the company could adapt to every new challenge, while also prioritizing social responsibility, philanthropy, and initiatives that leverage technology to improve education, access, and opportunities worldwide. And through strategic moves such as going public, expanding internationally, diversifying into enterprise solutions, and orchestrating transformative acquisitions like EMC, Michael Dell solidified Dell Technologies as a leader in personal computing, enterprise infrastructure, cloud, cybersecurity, and digital transformation. Whether it was repairing broken radios, building small machines, or understanding the inner workings of computers, and this relentless curiosity drove him to see opportunity where others saw complexity, to embrace challenges that seemed impossible, and to develop a mindset that combined creativity with analytical thinking. And as he grew older, this mindset evolved into a profound entrepreneurial vision, one that challenged traditional business models and envisioned a world where technology could be delivered directly to consumers, customized to their needs, and made more accessible and affordable. And it was this vision, coupled with his extraordinary work ethic, that led him to start PCs Limited from a simple dorm room while he was still a teenager. A bold move that would eventually disrupt the computer industry, challenge established giants, and redefine the way personal computers were sold, built, and experienced. And what makes Michael Dell's journey truly compelling is not only the meteoric rise of his company, but the philosophy that guided him throughout, a philosophy rooted in innovation, efficiency, customer-centric thinking, and an unyielding belief in the power of ideas, hard work, and strategic risk-taking. And this Introduction will take you through the early inspirations, the formative years, the pivotal decisions, and the mindset of a young man who transformed curiosity into vision, vision into action, and action into a global empire. A story of ambition, resilience, and leadership that offers lessons not only in business and technology but in the courage to pursue one's dreams, to challenge the status quo, and to create a lasting legacy that continues to shape the world of technology and entrepreneurship today. As we reach the culmination of Michael Dell's extraordinary journey, it becomes clear that his story is not just about computers, technology, or business success, but about vision, determination, resilience, and the transformative power of one individual's ambition to change the world. And from the early days of tinkering with gadgets in his childhood bedroom to founding PCs Limited in a small dorm room with a mere $1,000 in savings, every step of his path was shaped by curiosity, a relentless desire to solve problems, and a refusal to accept limitations, and Michael's rise illustrates how innovation combined with disciplined execution can disrupt entire industries, challenge established norms, and redefine possibilities, showing that even the youngest dreamers can create enterprises that leave an enduring global impact. And as Dell grew from a small startup into a national leader and eventually a global technology powerhouse, Michael navigated complex challenges that would have daunted many experienced leaders, including scaling operations rapidly, managing international expansion, integrating emerging technologies, and later executing transformative acquisitions like EMC to create Dell Technologies as a comprehensive enterprise solutions provider, and through every challenge, he maintained his unwavering commitment to core principles, efficiency, customer centricity, innovation, and operational excellence, which allowed his company to not only survive but thrive in a highly competitive, fast-paced, and ever-changing industry. And what makes his story particularly inspiring is the human dimension of leadership that Michael embodied. Understanding that people, culture, and vision are as essential to success as technology and strategy, and he invested in employees, fostering collaboration, creativity, and continuous learning, while also emphasizing social responsibility, education, and philanthropy, proving that true success is measured not only in financial metrics but also in the positive impact one creates on society, the opportunities opened for others, and the legacy left behind. And as Dell Technologies became a global force, Michael demonstrated that staying ahead requires both foresight and adaptability, constantly anticipating market trends, embracing technological disruption, and innovating products and services that meet the evolving needs of consumers, enterprises, and governments, all while remaining faithful to the founding principles that made his business model revolutionary. And this journey from a curious teenager to one of the most respected leaders in technology underscores timeless lessons for aspiring entrepreneurs: the power of vision, the importance of hard work, the courage to take calculated risks, the discipline to learn from failures, and the humility to remain connected to customers and employees, and beyond the business achievements. Michael Dell's story teaches us that leadership is about foresight, empathy, persistence, and the ability to inspire others to think bigger, work smarter, and believe in their own potential. And as we reflect on his life and career, it becomes evident that the legacy he leaves is not confined to computers, servers, or cloud infrastructure, but in the countless lives he has influenced, the innovative business practices he pioneered, and the example he set for generations of entrepreneurs, showing that with imagination, determination, and the willingness to act, anyone can take an idea, nurture it with vision and discipline, and transform it into a force that reshapes industries and touches the world. And as the story of Michael Dell concludes, it leaves us with a profound understanding that success is not merely measured by wealth or fame, but by the courage to dream, the perseverance to act on that dream, the resilience to overcome obstacles, and the wisdom to use one's influence to create lasting value. And this final reflection reminds us that the journey of Michael Dell, from a young boy fascinated by electronics to the head of a global technology empire, is a testament to human ingenuity, relentless ambition, and the extraordinary potential of turning curiosity into vision, vision into action, and action into a legacy that will continue to inspire, teach, and motivate for decades to come, leaving every listener, viewer, and aspiring entrepreneur with the timeless lesson that no dream is too small, no challenge too great, and no ambition too bold when guided by purpose, determination, and the unyielding drive to make a difference.